and we should be live. Good afternoon, y'all. It's Ed over at My Philippine Dreams. We should be live on a live cast here. I'm doing this for two reasons. The first reason is to test the live stream, because when I tried to do it Wednesday morning, our PLDT failed us and the signal crashed and we lost the live cast. I actually did the whole live cast, but it didn't get uploaded, it didn't get done. So basically it was me babbling at this camera right here for about 45 minutes and there was nobody there. I didn't know, I saw that it wasn't, I didn't have that green light and everything, so I wasn't sure if it was working or not. Come to find out it wasn't. So this is to test to see if this works. Okay, now the setup we have the 8 megabit PLDT DSL. The problem is our ping time. When I ping outside of the Philippines, the ping time is like 200 to 300 milliseconds, which is pretty horrible. And when PLDT came over here the other day to test it and check everything out, they did a trace test and everything, and it's great in the Philippines. But once you do that handshake to the real internet that's in the rest of the world, that's where all the latency comes into play. And that latency is pretty ugly. I play some online games, and all of a sudden you're playing and the screen will blank out. Next thing you know, everybody's dead. Or you're dead. There's a lot of death involved. So that's the purpose of this, is to test to see if it's working. I'm using OBS software on the live stream, and it's only uploading at 300 kilobits per second. It should be coming through at 360p. So let's hope that it all works out. The other thing that I wanted to talk about briefly is we're going to have a live cast tomorrow morning. We're going to do try to do a live cast talking about all the stuff that I talked about in the last live cast. And in this live cast, Michelle will also come in at the end to answer any specific questions that you might have. So what I'm going to do is I'll go over to our Facebook page and announce that this is going to be happening, and for people to submit any specific questions they might have for Michelle. We've both been working hard this week. She's been working a lot harder than I have. Granted, she's working right now. She's been putting in like 10-hour days. So it'll just give people an opportunity to ask her any specific questions she might have as a Filipino in this status of what is things that are going on. All right. Now, next thing we got to talk about is all the drama that's going on about this travel ban that's going around for southern Philippines. I guess what they mean by southern Philippines is Mindanao. And Mindanao's been a problem for a while. Now, we posted that on our Facebook. I posted on our Facebook this morning. There's a group, Hammond Law Group. It's a attorney's office in Cincinnati, Ohio, that's been in operation for 26 years. They are immigration attorneys, and they actually have a lot of information on their sites. And one of the things they mentioned was an update to the executive order that Trump had against, I think it was 7 Islamic Muslim countries. Terrorists with terrorist links. So and it causes some fear. If you go down to our Facebook page, you'll see the thing, and I write that it's unverified, and you can actually read in there that there could be mistakes and this might not even happen. But I just thought that this was important to report, and I had to balance it out because I'm not a big fan of fake news and all these alternative facts and all this stuff. So I vetted it as well as I could. You'll see it's on GMA News, it's on Rappler, it's on a lot of the Philippine, Philstar, all that stuff. They're all talking about it. But I wanted to find out the source, and the only source at this point is this Hammond Law Group out of Cincinnati, Ohio. So, and again, I had to balance it out. A lot of our subscribers and a lot of people that follow us are Filipinos. Some of them are Filipinos in the United States. Some of them have not adjusted their status, and have their green cards, and they might have a travel permit, and they might be thinking about, visiting the Philippines or visiting some other country, leaving the United States for a short period of time. And if this actually does go into effect, they're going to find themselves in that limbo, and that's not a good place to be. So I had to balance it out. All right, I had to balance it out. None of this is verified. None of it's corroborated. And actually, the U.S. State Department made a statement today on this, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's get into the Hammond Law Group article. And you can see all the links. I got the links for the Hammond Law Group article, and I got the links for Kicker Daily, where I got the response from U.S. State Department. and the links are down in the video description box. This is an update to the alert we issued on Monday, January 30th, 2017. Hammond Law Group LLC has learned that a draft of an executive order modifying President Trump's January 25, 2017 executive order enhancing public safety in the interior of the United States is currently being circulated for review. So basically it's a draft that could change that executive order. This executive order, if signed, may add the following countries to the travel ban implemented on January 25th: Egypt, Lebanon, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Colombia, Venezuela, Southern Philippines, Trans-Sahara, which is Mali, and Sulu Seas Littoral. We believe the new executive order may be published within the next 2 weeks. Hammond goes on to say, given the manner in which the current travel ban was implemented and the way it was announced with no advance notice, not to mention the lack of guidance with regard of how it is to be enforced, we have no choice but to suggest that nationals from any country on this new list, without regard to their immigration status, refrain from traveling outside the United States until such time as we know more about this proposed executive order. It is entirely possible that this information is either inaccurate or incomplete. However, the severe consequences of being denied re-entry into the United States would suggest extreme caution is justified at this time. All right, the first question that pops up is how people are asking, and some people asked on Facebook, how will they determine who's from Southern Philippines? How will they determine who's from Mindanao and who's from other places? And I think a possible answer to that is the State Department has all immigration records. And when people are applying for immigration status and coming over on non-immigrant visas, you know, they say where they're from. So they have those documents and they could actually find out from that. Now, considerations. This is kind of strange because President Duterte and President Trump, it's hard saying that. They've actually communicated, and they seem to get along pretty well. And President Duterte is from Southern Philippines. He's from Davao. But also, President Duterte has said that whatever the United States does in regards to enforcing immigration laws, because I think the Department of Homeland Security has a list of like 300,000 Filipinos in the United States that are there. They overstayed, so they're basically there illegally. So that's kind of strange that that's happening. Also, there's 3.5 million Filipinos in the United States. Some of them are staying, you know, overstayed. It happens all the time, especially from people from Ireland. Oh my gosh, in Boston, all the Irish are overstaying. So, and there's a long relationship with the Philippines, people going back and forth, people working, contractual labor, all that stuff. So that would be very complicated. All right, now, Kicker Daily. And this is from today. So this was published today in response. And I'll tell you what, also Hammond Law Group, it could be a cunning marketing scheme because if you go to their website now, it's coming really slow. It's loading really slow. So they're getting a lot of attention from, because this is all over. This is on Reddit. This is on Facebook. This is all over the place. So maybe it's some, you know, crazy marketing scheme. This is what the U.S. State Department has said in response to these concerns. This is February 3rd, today, 2017. Allaying fears among U.S.-based Filipinos and those traveling to and from the United States, a White House official clarified that the Philippines remains not a quote-unquote country of concern following President Donald Trump's signing of an executive order implementing a temporary travel ban on citizens of 7 predominantly Muslim countries. U.S. State Department spokesperson Mark Toner said in a statement on Wednesday that while human rights remain an area of concern for the U.S., the relationship between the two countries provides them with an opportunity to talk about these concerns and at the same time, quote, pursue a very productive and forward-looking bilateral relationship, end of quote. He goes on to say, the Philippines was not among those countries that was labeled of concern. So I would say that the Filipinos, both in the United States and in the Philippines themselves, should by all means, we welcome them to the United States, said Toner. Toner's statement came amid growing fears that Filipinos residing in the United States could be affected by Trump's immigration crackdown. I call him 45, Trump. The Philippines may be placed on Trump's, and then Kicker Daily goes on to say, the Philippines may be placed on Trump's travel ban, as latest reports claim that the same executive order signed last January 25 is under review and is likely to be modified. However, Toner said Philippines was not one of the countries, quote, where a pause was initiated with regards to visas and with regards to refugees, end of quote. But still, Toner added, it is highly recommended that Filipinos traveling to the U.S. consult with the American Embassy in Manila. All right. So there's the initial report from Hammond Law Group, again, which has been around for a long time. I vetted them as well as I could. And again, I had to balance this. Is this fake news? Is it just bullshit? Is this a marketing ploy? Or is this something people should know about if they're, in certain situations? And it really doesn't affect Americans at this point unless, they got fiancé visas going on or wives, possibly having travel permits to leave the country. They haven't got their green card and they come back and they find that they can't come back in. So that's why I put it on our Facebook. So that's the original statement by Hammond, and there's also the reply by the United States State Department. But again, at the end of the article, Toner added it is highly recommended that Filipinos traveling to the U.S. consult with the American Embassy in Manila. That's kind of strange, and because you would think it would concern Filipinos that are actually in the United States and are thinking of, traveling out for a vacation to the Bahamas or something, and they have a travel permit for that when they're on the non-immigrant visa and they haven't got their green card yet. So that's kind of odd. So I got a lot of shit on our Facebook for posting that, especially, what's his name? Stefan Dorfman. Don't be douchey, all right? Try to just, go with things and try to be nice. A lot of the comments you've left in our Facebook for the last 2 or 3 years have been pretty negative, so there's no need for that. So that's the news. I see fit to report it. Take everything with a grain of salt. But these are things to keep in mind. Things are happening very quickly. Executive orders and stuff's happening in the United States very quickly, especially when it comes to immigration and international relationships. And this is something we all have to keep in mind. Don't forget that tomorrow we're going to do a live cast at 10 a.m. local time. That is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Michelle will be answering some of your questions at the end of the live cast. And I'm basically going to be redoing the live cast, or trying to redo the live cast, that I did this past Wednesday morning, which was very frustrating. All right, let's check to see if this live cast is actually working. And it says it's live. Yay, I seem to be alive. All right, so that's the end of the live cast. I'm going to go to the comments and respond to some people, check in with that and see what's going on. All right, here we go. There's a lot of comments. Yay. C. Willis says, seems like a decent idea if President Duterte symbolizes Southern Filipino mentality. Ooh, that's brutal, man. Try to be nice. Remember, I can't talk politics. Phil Banawe is saying, WTF, your video won't play. It should be playing. Yeah, Marco says, I hope that's not true. And I hope it's not true, too. But I can't, you never know what he's going to do, though, our President Trump. But the relationship between the United States, especially when it comes to people working, contractual workers, all the visas that are flying around right now, all the stuff that's going on, the fact that we got 3.5 million Filipinos living in the United States, that would be bizarre. Terry Heights says, it's actually CNN fake speculation, Ned. No, it's not CNN. It's coming from Hammond Law Group. That's the source. That's where this is vetted through. And Hammond Law Group seems legit. I'm probably going to try to call them as about 9 or 10 o'clock tonight to see if I can get through. I'm sure I'm not going to be able to get through because I'm sure everybody and their brother's calling them. Philippines Expat German, greetings from the cold Germany. From Sigrid and Michael, hello. Terry Heights saying it's not true. Right, yeah, nothing's happened yet. We also got to realize, though, and this is kind of unprecedented in U.S. presidential history, Trump right now is surrounded by a bunch of people that are passing on information to the media. And this is kind of strange. This happened, like in the latter part of the Nixon administration, that was happening. Because people are saying things that they don't like and they're concerned about, like the phone calls that Trump had with the Australian Prime Minister. That, as soon as he hung up the phone, 10 minutes later, news agencies were aware of that had happened. And those are supposed to be closed calls with only a certain number of people in the room, in the area, people that are aware of it. So we're getting information is being passed to the media from within the executive office. And that's kind of strange. That's really never happened before. Jean-Paul asks, have you tried boneless lechon in Valencia? Sir, no, I have not tried boneless lechon in Valencia, but I like me some lechon. Yeah, Victor Lassen said they could use birthplace to determine it. Birthplace is on all passports. Yeah, they have those. They have those records. You know, the State Department has those records. Yeah, and Cess in the City. Good point. And I mentioned that earlier. I don't think it's true. Came from one law firm in Cincinnati. I suspect it's to drum up business. That could be a marketing ploy. But also look at it like this. They've been in immigration law for 26 years. So they probably have connections with certain agencies that other people don't have. I mean, they've had long-term relationships, I'm sure, with people like that. So they could be getting that information from there. We'll find out. We'll find out within a couple weeks. You know, all you got to do is turn on the news to see what the latest executive order is. Nathan Williams said Trump is just trying to stop Muslims from coming to the United States, and that's causing a lot of problems. Well, it looks like he's also, if this report from Hammond Law Group is true, he's also going to be targeting South America, those Colombians and those Venezuelans. And that could cause problems. Because, you know, there's usually reciprocity when stuff like this occurs. You know, when one country does something against another country, that country tends to respond in a similar manner. So this could cause problems. Tourism, travel, all that stuff. Terry Height, he says, in regards to this, he's saying, it seems to keep the flames of hatred alive every time this fake news is started. I don't think it's hatred. I think it's just information. I don't think anybody's hating on anybody. We're just trying to be as objective as we can. And, you know, and I see his stance. I see where he's coming from. I can understand that. He's trying to keep us safe. He's trying to cut down on, you know, foreign terrorists coming into the United States and blowing us up and shooting us. But one thing you got to keep in mind is, I think 74% of all terrorist activity in the United States since for the last 16 years, over 16 years, has been through sovereign nationals. It's been our own people blowing us up and shooting us. Vix Travel, CNN leaned too far to the left, not credible anymore. Yeah, I can agree with that. It's a little bit of left of center, but I don't think it's as right of center as Fox News is. Fox News is Trump's favorite channel. Hey, Johnny Warrior. Johnny Warrior's in the house. It's speculation, Ned. Yes. Again, this is based on a single law firm's document that they have on their website. And they also say in the document itself that it could be in error. It is entirely possible that this information is either inaccurate or incomplete. And it's also pretty impractical, just again because of the relationship that the United States has with the Philippines and the number of Filipinos and Americans that are going back and forth there all the time. Cess in the City also notes that Cincinnati has a large Filipino community. I really think it is a marketing ploy. Again, could be. You never know. Expat in Training says Trump is a tactician. Every move he makes is precise and planned, including leaks. Okay, yeah. Kenneth Brown. Hi, Ned. Is Michelle from CDO area or further south? She is from southern Mindanao on the south coast. I've been down there. It's hot. The electricity doesn't work, and the food's not that great. Spicy David 2005. Don't go back to the Philippines due to travel bans. Says Styles' wife not go back to the Philippines. I don't know. Does she have a green card? Is she naturalized? I don't know what her status is. I guess if a person has a green card, if they've gotten their adjustment of status, this doesn't affect them. Spicy David also notes that the old media is dying. Actually, I think this is good. I think this is good for journalism because it's challenging journalism. It's getting in its face. For too long, all these news agencies have been more focused on ratings and, trying to appeal to certain parts of the tribe. You get the conservatives and you get the liberals. So they've been slanting the news based on that. I prefer to go back to like the 1960s and you had some guys, just focusing on objectivity, not giving too much opinion, giving people the facts and letting people figure the facts out for themselves. But in this new day, in this new era, since Trump was inaugurated, alternative facts seem to be floating around. And people are accepting that. They're normalizing lies. And that's not good. So it's on journalism, it's on these media outlets to try to focus on being as objective as possible and giving people real information and not just catering to their demographic, not catering to the liberals or not catering to the conservatives, trying to be objective. That's why I listen to BBC. I like BBC a lot. And I also listen to NPR. And a lot of people think, oh, NPR is so left-leaning and all this. It's really not, because usually when they're doing in-depth articles or expositions, they're bringing in both sides of the argument, and I think that's really important. All right, so we're going to bring this to an end. Thanks to everybody who commented. It's much appreciated. Again, I got a lot of shit for this in the comments, but I thought it was important, and I don't regret doing it. If it turns out not to be true, that's great, but I'd rather risk it not being true than have some people affected if it does, happen, if it comes to fruition, and they find themselves stranded outside the United States. Because a lot of people, when the executive order, when that January 25 executive order came down, there was no warning. It just happened, and people at airports were just stranded, stuck, and they didn't have anywhere to go. They couldn't get to their homes. They couldn't, feed their dogs. They couldn't, all their properties, their cars, their vehicles, whatever they had, their husbands, their wives, their kids. All right. Okay, Spicy David. Trump follows Alex Jones. Alex Jones controls him to fight the New World Order. One last thing I'll say before I go. If you guys can listen to the Joe Rogan podcast that has Alex Jones recently on it, it's freaking hilarious. It's freaking hilarious. Marco D says, not everyone is falling for the whole alternative fact stuff. I agree. And we're starting to see people try to bring some accountability to all this, and we'll see where it goes. But the U.S. has got the conservatives in control. They got the Senate, they got the Congress, and they got the presidency. And hopefully it'll all work out. Yes, I'm a liberal. I'm a self-professed socialist, as Mr. Dorfman said. Socialism is inevitable. Capitalism cannot continue. The population's getting too big. Automation's coming in. It's going to kill 20 to 35% of the jobs within the next 20 years. What are we going to do? There's only so many resources to go around. All right, enough politics, enough of that bullshit. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget about our LiVECAST tomorrow, 10 a.m. local time. And until then, be well, stay out of trouble, and don't get banned from travel. That'd be a bad thing. Peace.